All right, and we're back. This is a special edition. It's actually my first one-on-one conversation. So I'm gonna call this Yo, that's Larry, one-on-one conversations with Larry. But I'm here with a local educator, one of my oldest friends, honestly. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Um, I'm Carlos Grant from South Carolina. I'm a local educator here, first year, and that's about it. I can say for myself.
All right, man. I like to tell you, like, I really appreciate you pulling up and actually doing this with me, man. It really means a lot. Um, like, we can get started if you're ready.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here, man. Can't I ain't gonna turn you down. So
All right. Now, I told him I wasn't gonna make the questions too difficult, but there's a conversation that need to be had, I believe, as far as with what's going on in society right now, as far as the route that the kids is going and things like that. So hopefully, this is something that could be an eye opener to whoever hears this.
mm.
But one thing that really stands out is cell phones. In your opinion, cell phones, does it affect the classroom positively or negatively?
um, I think that it all depends on how you use it. You know, cell phones can't be bad because they don't do anything. It's it's how you it's how you utilize it. A an intelligent person will find a way. Technology is here. There ain't no changing it. So we can't go back. As much as people be like, "Oh, I wish we could go back to where we didn't have cell phones," but you can't go back to that. So the only thing that you can do is try to find a way to implement it in the learning. Just like how they implemented computers and stuff. Same thing. They give the students Chromebooks, but they do the same thing as the cell phones.
That's true. So would
So
you say, as far as implementing it in the learning, is that something that you practice like as a educator?
we have a no tolerance, for cell phones in class. When they step on campus, they have to be, put up. They have to be put away in their book bag, all through class until they leave. So, it's not something that I have control over.
Gotcha.
So you just got to follow the rules. But what I think is, because once you telling a kid they can't do something, that's exactly what they're gonna do. So
Yeah, we
I
was
would,
young. Yeah.
yeah, I would think it would be, beneficial to try to find ways to implement the technology, not just the Chromebooks and the Clearboards and stuff, but even with cell phones. Like I know at our school we teach image editing. That's things you could use your cell phone for that. Pictures and all kind of stuff like that. Just find ways to implement it to where it's being utilized in a positive manner and not a negative manner.
And what's crazy, the fact that you say that, like like my daughter, she's into editing and stuff like that,
Mm.
and she would rather use her phone than her computer to do editing and stuff like that. And I just look at it, I'm like, you would be a lot more comfortable, I feel, if you would use the computer itself.
I don't
But
know. I got my masters on my phone.
mm,
Like writing, I write in my notes, send it to Microsoft, and then I edit it from there. Sometimes I would use a computer, but it was easier and more convenient for me. Like if I'm sitting in class or something, and I done gave my instruction, then I can sit at my phone and I can do my homework. I did about 95% of my masters on my telephone.
you shut me up with that one.
I'm just saying. It can be depending on how depending on how it's used. It ain't whether it's good or bad. It's just depending on how it's used. Now, the effects of cell phone, I think those are bad. Like the effects of technology, anyway, especially if
Well,
it's not utilized properly. Make the kids attention, like especially the apps, like they got short attention spans. That's because they constantly strolling and looking at stuff, so they don't have to pay attention to it long.
And see, that's one thing I wanted to touch on too. Was okay. What do you think? Or I guess that would go into that because one of my questions for you was like, what is something that's contributing to the short attention span? But it's not just the kids; it's the adults too.
Yeah, that I mean, everybody doing the same thing. You look at most people when you look at them, everybody got their cell phone and they're strolling. You don't have to pay attention to nothing long. I mean, versus when I think about it, when we was kids, we had look. I know I had a Nokia, and I look. I'm not calling you. I'm not texting you until after 9 o'clock. So my minutes weren't free. You know what I'm saying? So we weren't paying attention. And then we watched TV. We had to watch commercials. Now you could just skip through them. You know what I'm saying? You ain't. There's nothing that's making you pay attention. Before we had to go through the whole process. Now you can skip through it.
That's
You
true.
know, they even think about kids even think that way with success too. Versus them doing the work, you have to put forth the work. They think you can just skip through it because that's what the social media show. They show somebody, oh, I was poor and I was homeless, a year ago. Now I'm a millionaire. Like, man, people been doing that job for years.
That's true. And that's another thing too. So would you say that in your line of work, social media affects your line of work negatively or positively?
Mhm. I don't look at stuff as being good or bad. I look at how you use it, how it's utilized. That's like saying forks and spoons make people fat. It ain't the forks and spoons. It's the person with it.
That's
You
true.
know, it's how you gonna utilize it.
I don't know. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like for years, I think the fork did kind of add to what you see right now, man. But yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Okay, I
Yeah,
got you.
I mean, it ain't. I don't look at it as being good or bad. I just look at it's all about how you utilize it. You know, um, if you don't use, of course, if you don't utilize it properly, it's gonna, cause some type of adverse effect that you don't want.
That's true.
You know,
Now, I ain't mean to cut you off, but do you feel with what we're discussing, is there anything that the parents can do to help minimize the effects of them maybe using social media or cell phones negatively?
yeah, education starts at home. I mean, even myself, this is something that I should do better about because I have a daughter. My daughter does everything on her phone. Man, I just gave my kids phones back. I had them for probably like 2 weeks. It's a whole big difference, in their interaction skills, how they interact with each other, how they interact with us. I was like, Dad, I don't think I want to give your phones back because when they have their electronics, I don't really see them. My son's in his room playing this game. My daughter's in her room. She's on her phone. Hell, even our 3-year-old, she got a tablet, so she put her headphones on and she's in her tablet. You won't even know she around until she till her tablet go dead. So something that I should do better, like maybe when your kids come home, all electronics put up, even with the adults too. You know, you have a time where you put your electronics up. Yeah, I know in our house, man, I try to make sure like at nighttime everything's off. No TVs, no cell phones. Everybody put that stuff up. That's where you can get a good night's rest. Just little things that you can implement, like monitoring the screen time. Really, but that's hard with teenagers.
This is true. So it's almost you once they get on this road, it's hard to get them off that road.
Yeah, but I mean, with being, you just got to let them know, man. The only thing you can really do for people that are growing, I can't change nobody. I can just give you the information, and when I can point out the effects, like, this is why. Hey, Daddy, why is this going on? This why this is, this is why this happening. And then after a while, they start to be like, okay, he bald, but he make a lot of sense. That's what my daughter tell me all the time. He bald head. I'm like, man, but so, but
Well, I don't know. That's a it's an ongoing battle as far as because I know dealing with the cell phones and stuff. Like I know we use it for everything,
yeah,
but at the same time, just like what you were saying, It's how it's being used, and I experience that now, like at work, and you'll like we working well where I'm working at. It's a place that is dangerous,
Yeah.
and you could look over there. You got 1,000 pound thing that's over your head,
Yep.
and you over there like this right here, and it's like, yeah, you bold, you
Yeah.
bold. But you sent me a report, and like it's a very detailed report as far as with the southern region dealing with education and the finances, right?
Yeah.
So I read through and I picked out some points, and I see how like having the wages being low is leading to turnover rate, like a high turnover rate. But I never processed or I never thought about it as when 3 teachers leave, if those teachers aren't replaced, those students that were supposed to be in that class is supposed to go to other classes. And so that makes a heavier workload for the people that's still there.
Yeah.
And you reference stress. So can the stress level being high, like not necessarily on your part, but just on a teacher in general, can the stress level being high lead to inadequate teachings?
Yeah, of course. That's for anything though, cause I mean, stress is what they say. Stress is the number one killer.
And this is true.
You know, so I mean, you don't function properly under stress. That's anybody, man. And with you not being able to function properly, that means you can't properly educate. You know, and a lot of that come from a lot of people financial the financial pressure does play a major part in in education. Like I say, for instance, right at our school when we have teachers that are absent, then we pick up classes during. I pick up classes during my free period. Like so, if I have a planning period, I pick up someone else's class if it's available. That's a way of distributing the workload. You're also compensated for it too, but like just with your time, and I still have planning, so that may mean I'm taking stuff home, or I'm having to work harder to get what I need done. But then also too, I teach business. I teach accounting 1 and 2. I teach entrepreneurship. So I may have a English class, or I may have a mathematics class or something. I may have math. I don't teach those subjects, so ain't no way possibly that I can actually help the students. They just there.
I mean, you're talking about 30 to 45 minutes.
90-minute class.
Oh, it's a 90-minute class. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's you're not put there to really.
No, not the educating, but still though. I mean, so that means we still falling short somewhere though. See what I'm
Okay,
saying?
I get you.
Not to try to not try to bash nobody, but these things have been going on long before I got there, or the people that are that are there now. I mean, it's overall the way the system is structured. And it's not just in education too though. Like before I became I'm a first year educator. So before I became an educator, I was a supervisor at a group home for kids, from DJJ.
Yeah.
Kids are sent to our camp. We housed up to 30. We could house up to 30 kids. But wasn't nobody lining up for those jobs means we had a high turnover rate with that too. I don't think it's so much as the jobs. I think it's the environment and the conditions, or maybe more so, dealing with the youth today.
And
I think that's. I don't really think it's the money or nothing like that, or the stress. I don't think teaching hasn't changed in over 100 years. They still. That's the only thing that hasn't been redone. Teaching is still the same way from 100 years ago.
it's the like this, it turns into a cycle the way I visualize it. Okay, all right, you're on the front line as an educator. That's the way I look at it. So with you being on the front line, if you're stressed or if some of your coworkers are stressed and they can't properly educate the way that they feel because of the stress, then it's gonna trickle down to the kids. Okay, so you may have certain kids that fall through the crack. Those kids that fell through the crack grows up
Yeah.
and become people out here in the world that's looking for jobs.
Yeah.
And I think that some of those is no really better way to say it, but some of those bad influences or bad conditions leads to the high turnover rate that we see in the work field.
Yeah.
That I don't know. It's a real deep. It's a slippery slope, but it's a deep conversation. Now, my question to you is: okay, with teaching being the same way, and it hasn't changed, is there anything that the school district or the county could do that would be able to help, kind of, I guess, help y'all in the classroom or help y'all be able to not be as stressed, or like what are some things that can be done?
I mean, man, like nothing's perfect. There's always room for improvement, and I think our county does a very good job with trying to, assist, the people that are on the front line. Mainly, I just think it's, me personally, I just think it's the kids are different, and the kids are different, and by things being the same from 100 years ago, like you have to, come up with things
Modern.
that suit the time. Like everybody's not the they're not the same. So you have to find different things to meet what the needs of the child, And so like how you put all of them in the classroom, you expect all of them to learn. And I mean, which they're I've been to the trainings where they're implementing these things now. We're just playing catch up.
Is it the county playing catch up, or is it just
not just our county? I'm saying overall, the education system in general. They're playing catch up because, I mean, things have been the same for so long. So now, we're just playing catch up. Life is a do-it-yourself project. Regardless, I mean, it's easier for somebody to blame, other people. If my life wasn't going the way I wanted to go, I could say, "Oh, it's the government fault," or, it's my parents' fault because they didn't do this for me, or they didn't do that for me. I didn't have this growing up. But that's not the case. I mean, at some point, you have to take control of your own life, and you have to steer the ship. If you're not making the type of resources that you want, it's nobody's fault but yours, because you're the person that's driving the boat. You have to, at some point, you have to take accountability. I mean, that's the only way it's going to work. Life is a do-it-yourself project. You can't, I'm a wholehearted believer in God. But God He's only going to assist you, or she's only going to assist you as much effort as you put in. If you take one step, God is going to take two for you. So you got to do the work. Most people nowadays, it's easier for them to blame somebody else. Oh well, the county is not doing this for me, or they're not doing this for me, so it's their fault that I'm not living the type of life that I'm. No, you're not living the life that you want to live because you're not doing it. I mean, that's just how I see that. Ain't nobody gonna stop me from getting the things that I want out of my life. I know this because I mean, you know me. You know where I come from to where I am now.
Yes, sir.
So and it, much as I like to bring, I much as I had everything against me, or it seemed like I had everything against me, but it was only me that was sabotaging myself.
And you kind of play, I say, like in your situation.
You play victim.
Yeah, you play, but it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy with certain situations. It's easy to play victim. And honestly, like, we're on the sidelines, like we ain't making no better being
Yeah.
around you. Like, well, I can understand because he went through this, and this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, of course it's common for people to have empathy. You know, you could relate to them because all of us we click because we all came up, similar circumstances. It was to help us, but it helped us grow. Some of us grew past our circumstances. That's what life is you for you to grow past your circumstances, not for you to continuously blame you know circumstances. Because best believe, even though like coming up I'll be like, man, I came up in some of the worst circumstances. Now when I look at my childhood, I'll be like, man, I had a good childhood compared to somebody across town. It was way worse than mine.
And you said that to me a couple weeks ago, and I kind of paused when you said it because I don't think I've ever heard you say that before.
No, I had a good childhood. There ain't nothing I didn't have. I could be like, hey, I didn't. My mama died. I'd be like, hey, I ain't had no mother, but I did. I had plenty of women that stepped in and filled that space. They may not be my biological mother, but I had women that came into my life that gave me the things that I needed. Even with my father, like I had uncles. I had a gang of uncles. Even with my daddy, he gave me advice. My uncles gave me advice. It wasn't them, it was me that I was hard headed. I didn't listen to nobody. Not until life started to
Life.
yeah. And life started lifing.
Yeah.
Like, okay. You don't want to listen. I got something for you.
And that's why when I found out that you was an educator, like I think I told you this, like I just started smiling because you're the perfect person to be on that front line because of like you have the story that you can tell them, and you can hell, you got kids of your own, so like you're able to relate to them, and you're I don't know, man, like you're just that type of individual, and I've always looked at you as that type of individual as far as being able to relate to people. Like you show plenty of empathy for people, like throughout your lifetime that I've seen. Like I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. It get you burnt sometime. So.
This is true. But hey, it's in us. You know what I'm saying? So, but
yeah, you can't let people change you though, man. You gotta be who you are regardless. Like they be some stuff I be like, yeah, I know this joker's gone, but it's not for them. It's for me because I know I did right. You know what I'm saying? I did right by him or whatever. So. It ain't up for other. Me being me is not for other individuals. It's for me, to be who I am, to be authentic to myself, and I value that a lot. And I try to instill that in my kids. Ain't no try to. They will. Even if they go away from that, they'll eventually come back to it. That's what my. That's what my grandma always told me. Or no matter how far you run away from it, you'll come back to it. And I did.
that foundation.
Yeah.
Like it's that building block. You know what I'm saying? Like it's instilled in us since childhood, and it's up to us to build off of it if we want to.
Yeah.
Now you can go and try to create your own building block, but as we see, it don't work out the same.
No, it don't. You got to do what you know, man. I'm thankful. Like when I was going through it, I'm like, man, I had the worst. But man, as I got older and I look back on stuff, that's what built, the person that's sitting here. Everything that I went through, and I wouldn't change it because I wouldn't be the person that I am. And I wouldn't be able to talk to, kids or grown people, whoever it is I'm talking to, I wouldn't be able to, share my story with them and make a difference in their life. My thing is the impact the people that I come in contact with. I like to say I'm not for everybody, but the people that I come in contact with, I do want to make an impact and I want to make a change. A positive change in your life. If I can't help you, then I ain't gonna do nothing to hurt you. And if I don't know, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. But that's gonna motivate me to go find out whatever it is, that an individual could be asking me.
And that's why I say, like, I think you're one of the perfect people for being on that front line. Like just the fact that just the way you answered that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As far as just yeah, you might not be for everybody, but
Yeah.
the impact is definitely going to be there. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Especially if they give you the chance to.
Yeah.
So like I had a couple of things I wanted to touch base with. All right, like you had made a comment to me that there are certain supplies that you may not have had or resources that you may not have had. Do you think not having those supplies or resources, and it's not even just you, because I know that there's other teachers that probably went through the same thing. Do not having those supplies and resources, does that affect your ability in the classroom?
Yeah, it can, but it it can for like a I mean, and then like I say, man, I have a different mindset than most people. Um, it will, it will affect your mindset. But it's like to me, I look at stuff when I encounter issues like that. It's like, okay, so how am I? What am I gonna do? Is I'm not gonna sit there and be like, well, I don't have this and I can't do this. It's like, okay, I don't have this, so what am I? What can I do that's gonna that's gonna till I can get what I need. What am I gonna do that's gonna be beneficial to me or help me, do what I need to do in the classroom? And that's what I did. I went through that at the beginning of the year. Me and my family went on vacation. We didn't get back to the first week of school. We wasn't there, so when I got back, it's like my first week of school. So I'm getting everything situated, and like I didn't really have none of the the access. I ain't gonna say I didn't have it. I didn't have access to it because I wasn't there at the beginning of the school year. And so I had to improvise, and that's what I did. I mean, I just improvised. I find ways to make it work, even if it was just busy work. Hey, I'm gonna print out some crosswords, and I'm gonna do this. I was just trying stuff, and then I'm a first year teacher anyway, so I don't know what I'm really doing, so I'm just gonna try something. Hey, look, we're gonna learn together.
What it sounds like, it goes back to what you said earlier as far as not playing victim.
Yeah.
Damn, I respect that. Like,
Yeah, no.
even in that situation.
Yeah, that's the main thing though. People, play victim. I don't, man, look, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I can't yeah, I can't lay down like that. You know.
Like I say,
So
I respect the hell out of that.
and that's a lot of the thing, even with the kids when it comes to with the generation now, it's like now you got some of them. I can see some of them I talk to and they're a fighter, but you gotta learn. What I had to learn was I had to learn to fight in the right way. It ain't about just fighting. I had to learn to fight the right way, cause the way I was fighting, I wasn't winning. You know, and I'm like, damn, how the hell? But then I start and like go back to when we was talking earlier about the language.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was that's how I learned how to fight. Okay, so I can't beat them this way, then I got to do it this way. It's like
Let's dive into that. Okay, like what he's referring to is we had a conversation off camera, and it was about going to get your education or going to get more education, and you was basically stating that going to get more education is really just going to get a different language.
yeah, being able to speak the language of the people that's winning. I mean, call it how you want to. Successful people, they speak a different language. And the analogy I use, like if I'm out hanging with my family and we, backyard talking and stuff, the language is different if I'm hanging with some educated people or, hanging with successful people. The language is different. Or if you was we get lawyers and stuff like that because they speak a different language. They speak the language of law. In business, businessmen speak the language of business. So whatever it is that you're trying to get into, you need to know how to speak that language. A lot of stuff like we're talented, just you're naturally gifted and talented, but it don't go anywhere for most people because they don't know the language. They don't know the ins and outs. To get in with me getting the education, it opened up doors for me that wouldn't have been open for me. You know, just 2021, I was working in Walmart, ship from store. Me and my wife actually. We was working at Walmart, shipping from store. It's what about to be 2025. We whole life educators. So it's a big jump, and that just comes from us getting our just getting our education.
I've seen that journey. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So like just to really like stay on that. Like as far as like speaking that different language, like you'll have certain people that'll say, uh, you didn't heard it before, or you change how you talk when the white people are around, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you have to,
yeah,
in certain environments, you have to change how you talk. Like I work with people that strictly stick on ain't nobody. I ain't gonna change for nobody.
yeah,
Well, you changed in order to get this job.
yeah,
You didn't go in there when you went and did that interview talking how we talk when we just chilling. You know what I'm saying? You changed your conversation piece when you went in there. You know what I'm saying? So you know exactly what you can do or what you're able to do. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? But I just like the way you put that as far as like going to get that language. So certain doors that was closed to us, they're not closed to you because of your skin color.
yeah.
They're closed to you because you don't know the talk.
Yeah, you don't know. It's really the language. You have to when you're going in front of somebody, you have to be able to you have to be able to talk and have closed in statements, because most people, they especially our people, we be talking about one thing, then we jump right to another without even closing
Yeah, definitely.
you know without even closing the last jump. We done jumped to something else. Totally, we done jumped about 5 different subjects.
And honestly, like that happens. Like we doing the podcast or whatnot, and like we really just winging it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And like you were talking about nerves. Hell, me doing the interview with you. Hell, I know you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Hell, I'm nervous now. You know what I'm saying?
That
But
this the best I probably done did though, cause I'm comfortable with talking to you. You know
yeah.
how me and you talk or whatever. So I'm comfortable with talking to you. It would have been anybody else, man. I would have. We gotta run this back.
I already know. But like I ain't gonna keep you here all day, man. But I got one last question for you. Like we've touched on a lot of different things, and I can't ask them everything because like hey, we both got lives outside of here. But I do hope that this interview will maybe spark the mind of somebody. But with this last question, I wanna kind of I want you to kind of to throw something out there that may stick and be something that we can build off of. Do you think that there's anything that we may be able to do as a people, and it's not just in our county, but like anybody who hears this, that something that we might be able to do that we could do in the community, like an event or a series of events that may be able to help with what's going on in the classroom?
I don't know if it's like maybe you can build up to like events and stuff like that. My thing, I would like to have a especially for young men, like the young men of our not, I ain't gonna say just color, for all young men, because that's just where I'm at.
Yeah.
For all young men, I would like to have like where you meet and talk like how we talking now,
Mm,
but just with a group of men, because men don't have no outlets.
that's real.
We don't really have outlets for emotions, and most people be like, yeah, men don't got no emotions, or they supposed to tuck them shits in their pocket and stuff like that. But I do know, I don't know where it's at, but it say in the Bible, it say what you don't bring forth will destroy you. And that's why you
Mm,
see so many people with all these bad habits and stuff like that, because they don't get these things out. you know um so I mean, that would be one thing. The next thing I would think, like, as far as like within our the education system, I think education starts at home. And I think for parents, or grandparents, whoever, if you're raising young people, or if you got what they call them, man childs or man
yeah.
children,
Man,
these
children.
grown people that they 40 and they still acting like little kids. make them take accountability. Start holding them accountable. My life didn't get better until I started to hold myself accountable and to hold myself to a higher standard. Um, and then after that, everything falls into place, and to check in with yourself. Hell, some of y'all call y'all homeboys every day, or call your girls every day, man. People need to start checking in with themselves. How am I doing today? How am I feeling? Hey, I had an argument with my girl yesterday. I mean, how do you feel about that? You have to check in with yourself. It matters. I think people, and we talked about technology, I think people have gotten so far away from that because of, technology. Not because technology is bad, but because it's not utilized properly. Um, that'll be my thing, man. I think it starts at home. I think in order for us to get up to where we want to be at, as far as community and stuff, it starts in the home because family is the first institution.
True.
If you don't have if your family not right, your neighborhood not gonna be right. Community's not gonna be right. Your town's not gonna be right. We have to rebuild our families and stuff like that. We have to get them up to par and stuff, and that's just where I am with that. And then everything else will fall into place, man. I think that's just my belief.
Do you think that that's something that we might could possibly get together as like a I don't know what you would call it, maybe like a workshop or
Yeah,
something like that?
yeah, I believe in stuff like that, but ultimately, before you can't skip steps, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we can even branch outside, before we can take the show on the road, it's something you have to start the work in the house.
But that's gonna be
And and I look at it like this too. Yeah, you'll know if they're doing the work because those are the people that'll show up. You know what I'm
right.
saying? How they say when the master appear when when the student is ready. So you'll know when it's time for to take the show on the road and stuff. People been doing the work. Then you'll have things that come about that way. But you can't just skip steps because it ain't gonna never work out. I know this. I done tried every kind of way to get ahead, and I always end up back where I was at before. I
Yeah,
might get ahead for a little while, but if I ain't do it the right way, then I go back to where
yeah.
I was previously.
Because that goes back to the foundation. Like if you didn't build a proper foundation, nothing's gonna be able to stand on
No,
it. So
they condemn the whole house if the foundation cracked or
yep,
messed up. Whole building, you can have a nice, big, pretty house. If your foundation messed up, whole house gone.
can't stay there.
Yep.
Damn, that's real.
So, I mean, that's just that's my outlook, my opinion and stuff. Not to say that everything that my viewpoint is right or anything, because I'm always, man, if you can teach me something, I'm gonna learn from you. If I can, there's always room for improvement. So, that's how I look at stuff. I'm a continuous learner. I'm always gonna, learn because it's gonna make me better. Information is the new gold.
Yeah, and I'm on that myself. So then, like you're inspiring me. You know what I'm saying? So like I got some stuff in the works myself, but like I don't know, like just hearing you say it like that's exactly what it is. We can't skip steps because I know that a lot of steps have been skipped as far as stuff that people done tried in the past, and we obviously see that it didn't work.
Yeah.
And okay, so that gives us something to strive towards. I we probably gonna have to have a part two
Yeah.
because like good ass conversation. Like I love how you broke stuff down and I just would love for you to come back so we can touch bases with you as far as like what's going on as far as on that front line.
Yeah, man. Just let me know. I ain't gonna never turn you down, man.
I appreciate you, man. But all right, that's been Conversations One on One with Larry. This is Carlos Grant, one of my oldest friends. But anything you would like to say before we?
Nah, man.
I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Peace.